Welcome to Digital Transformers, the show that connects you with what you need to build, manage, and operate your digital supply chain. Join your host in a timely discussion on new and future business models with industry-leading executives. The show will reveal global customer expectations, real-world deployment challenges, and the value of advanced business technologies like artificial intelligence, blockchain, and robotic process engineering. And now, we bring you Digital Transformers.
Hello, everyone. This is Kevin L. Jackson, and welcome to Digital Transformers on the Supply Chain Now. So I ask you, what is the future of work? Things have really changed so much over the past 2 years that work no longer fits any of its traditional definitions. I really didn't appreciate how fast things were changing until February 10th, 2018. That's when sort of my work life changed. This was way, way before the pandemic, when Mr. Marcin Buzanski reached out to me on LinkedIn, out of the blue with a simple question. He said, "Are you open for a short midterm assignment in the coming months?" That was pretty surprising to me, actually. It led me to a gig helping the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia develop the kingdom's cybersecurity and cloud computing policies. It was an honor to actually do that. But little did I know that the future of work had reached out from the future and touched my life. So with that, I would like to introduce the man that transported me to my future, Mr. Marcin Buzanski, co-founder and president of Expertise on Demand out of Warsaw, Poland. Welcome to the show, Marcin.
Welcome, Kevin. Welcome everybody who's watching and listening to us. And it is a great pleasure to be on the show and to talk with you again. And to hear again about how we got connected. I also very fondly remember this as it was also around quite early stages of Experts on Demand, and we have developed quite a lot since then. Quite a story here to share with you and the listeners. So I'm extremely happy to be here and talk with you.
No, thank you very much. I tell you, you guys have been really grown over the past few years. We're gonna talk about that, but I'm telling you, I'm so happy to see you. So you just returned from a pretty interesting trip. Can you tell us where have you been?
That's true, and we'll share it with our other guests here. I just came back from Ukraine, which we all know right now is fighting a war, and is a neighbor to Poland, where EonD headquarters are. And it plays a special place, of course, in not only in our hearts as Poland, but with EonD we have a number of employees who are from Ukraine. And while our experts, a lot of them, have also come from Ukraine itself, we've also had a strong background in terms of expertise available for government assistance and government reform, which we wanted to see how can be best, of course, used to aid Ukraine. One of the things actually we've done as EonD, we started this quick program when expert fees from quick consultations can be also donated to support the humanitarian efforts in Ukraine, which EonD matches as a donation. Wow. To the cause. Of course, we've been doing that, but also a little bit from my personal expertise as an expert in government capacity building. I went to see how we can help the central and regional administrations respond to this terrible situation, of course, that the country is in. And I think want to share with you and our listeners, it's always a humbling experience to see what people are capable of in times of dire straits, in time of extreme situation. It takes out the best of them. And I think, it's something to share with you and our listeners, that Ukrainians are really showing that they're very, very brave, that they're very, very committed, and they are playing an extremely important role for the whole of Europe and the Western alliances here. So I came back, from the trip, wanting to support even more, and of course, seeing the bravery and the extreme effort that the Ukrainian population is doing currently.
Yeah, we really thank you for your humanitarian efforts. And, I know the news really shows us some horrible scenes, but we can't forget the best of people really come out in the worst of times. But from your point of view, how has this war really affected the nature of regular work across your region?
Well, I think the closest part is clearly an effect on our employees and on their families, and something that we needed to take into consideration. In the greater schemes, I think it also adds a bit of a new dimension into a certain reality where we're already starting to find ourselves, meaning that that there's people who are remote, people who are moving, and they can engage in work quickly in different locations to provide their services. This has happened with a lot of Ukrainians coming through the border to Poland, but also traveling to other places which have certain skill sets and have been looking to work, not really receive charity. And with EonD functioning in the global gig economy, we can observe that that these type of different jobs are being sought from different skilled workers coming from Ukraine. So I think the conflict where you have such a mass movement of population is showing us that people can quickly find different type of short and midterm jobs via online platforms, and this was something that I think fits in also in this greater change that we're seeing globally in the work market.
So that's something that I actually didn't think about. It wasn't really top of mind, but there's, I guess, literally millions of people coming across the border into Poland, and they want to work. They still have a life, but this is a completely different dimension for human resources, your HR team. I mean, companies don't typically design their HR department to handle a flood of refugees, and it's especially trying to do remote work. EOD is, you have to do HR too. How did that happen?
Well, I think for us, this part is a little bit easier in the sense that we have our experienced recruiters, right, who are dealing with this type of short-term recruitments. But I think if you look more broadly at the whole market and HR market across the whole Central Eastern European region, not just Poland, it is trying to respond to allow a lot of the refugees to find jobs and be able to provide their support. And in some areas, for instance, like IT, this is an extremely important factor, because there was a scarcity of actually talented people who could be ready to work in this area. So I think that certainly adds to that dimension. But again, we'll have to, of course, see, because we're only a month and a half, and we hope this conflict ends as soon as it can. But then also people will want to return home. So so for us, actually the thing we'd want most is for the people to return, but still relationships to be built so that people can find jobs.
Right, right, absolutely. So, in fact, I guess we probably should slow up a little bit and discuss how you actually got to where you are today. I mean, can you share a bit of your background in Poland, your training? What did you do before EoD?
Well, my background and training is actually I'm a political scientist by
Wow.
training and education, and I have degrees from Warsaw University and in European affairs and in international affairs. But my work early on was primarily with the United Nations in government advisory, and it actually led me also to the States, where I did my master's degree at Columbia University in economic and political development. Which really took me to work with the UN and other international organizations and government advisory and building government capacity across the world. And I've been able to travel and work in many countries in Africa, in Southeast Asia, in the Middle East. And only as it happens by accident, you could say, I've moved on a little bit from being as they call international civil servant into an advisor doing consulting work and being the subject matter expert or the expert. And this is sort of where I learned or saw about how experts are sought after globally, but also what kind of companies try to work with them and actually try to find them. And well, this is sort of where the first thoughts about some kind of consulting type of group or network have started to emerge.
So you're the co-founder of Experts on Demand. How did that happen? Did you guys bump into each other at the coffee shop or getting some cappuccino?
This is the what could be called the startup moment in the story. So when doing this all this work as an expert or as an advisor, I've connected with my colleague Bartek, who is now the CEO at EonD, and he, while we knew each other from years back in Poland, drinking beer at university in pubs.
It's always good.
Which is always good. We've connected on a project and haven't seen each other for a very long time, where he was working with one of the large international consulting companies and needed experts like myself. So we connected. He brought me in on a project, and well, we came to an observation and conclusion that particularly in the field of government advisory and public sector advisory, there's a major scarcity of experts and a very big demand for them. And this is sort of where the idea of experts on demand has started, where it came, and well, from there, as they say, the rest is history.
Yeah,
it was one of those napkin discussions where we drew out the model for the company, and I must say, quite quickly, it turned into us realizing that not only those networks of experts are very much needed, and there's scarcity in several subject matter areas, not just government, and we've kept expanding. But we also saw the future as really merging the gig economy model with the model of high-skilled expertise. And this is really where we came to the place we are today, of establishing a platform,
Right.
a broad group, not just the top-level experts, but also the mid-level experts, the group of experts we call the professionals, the experts, consultants, and professionals, which is a whole new grouping for the gig economy that fits into the globally changing demand. And this is how we've seen the future, and I think it's happening before our eyes right now. And I must also say that these changes that EonD has fitted in has been really accelerated by the COVID pandemic.
Right. So when people think about gig, the first thing that sort of jumps into your mind are people driving Uber, whatever. But tell us more about the company. I mean, where do you operate? How do you actually source these experts? I mean, this is, people don't generally think they're going to get a call out of the blue, if, to do the work for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, for instance, as I did.
For sure. Look, I think it really, it's about two sides. Think about the demand and the supply, right? So on the demand side, we have organizations around the world which are rapidly changing into an external workforce model, right? So we see more and more organizations which look for short-term, mid-term, freelance type of employees. And what we have been seeing is the look for even more high-skilled employees than before to get those positions. On the other side, we have more and more experts which are ready to engage with short-term and medium-term type of projects. So how does EonD operate? We come in the middle of that. We make that match. In terms of how do we source the experts, there are a number of ways. Of course, we use open source, like you mentioned. We connected via LinkedIn, and different other platforms. We have our recruiters, which look for the good matches for the different demands that are coming our way. But very importantly, we have been automating the process of referrals. So we base also the growth of our network on the referrals from top experts in their field. And this has allowed a rapid expansion of our base of experts with the quality type of professionals that our clients would be looking for. So this model allows really to grow organically because next experts provide referrals for next experts, and with along with the open source, it allows our really base to grow very strongly. Now the next sourcing happens really automatically, meaning we've reached a level where experts, professionals sign up to our platform because they start to know that this is the place that can get you good and interesting assignments because of our client base and because of our reputation. So in this way, if you combine all of those elements, we have got the view of the organically growing network and of sourcing our professionals that join us. Now, we operate globally. Although our biggest markets right now are the Middle East and Europe, but we've been at this point supporting clients in, I want to give you the exact number, but it was 37 or 38 countries. So,
Wow.
So already quite a few. I think importantly, we are also at the process where our platform, I think, will grow quite a lot because of this demand for the high-skilled experts to join the gig economy. So I'm coming back to you mentioning how does a company like ours fit into the gig economy model?
Yeah,
right? Well, this is think of it as a little bit as like an Uber for the high-skilled experts. And even there are some large platforms which work for where you can find freelancers, but they're usually for maybe graphic design or some smaller IT jobs or some programmers. But for the high-level professional, the consultant, the expert, the advisor, for this level of professionals, there wasn't really an online space for them, which is more curated and dedicated, but still can connect with this demand for the external workforce growth. And this is where we come in as EonD.
So the thing that kind of struck me is that the information worker can do these, be identified and picked up for these gig jobs, but traditionally, large organizations and governments especially, there's a lot of trust required, a lot of knowledge of the organization or government processes, and there's a lot of vetting that's normally done with these experts. So you're saying now that are they loosening that up, and they're are they so desperate they have to go out and find anybody on the street? I mean, this is really a big difference.
That's very, you're touching on a very important point, and I believe this is something that has been part of our success, that we actually were able to provide this vetting in a semi-automated way at this point. Because when we've developed right now our base and serviced so many clients and projects, we have a good idea who is needed for what type of assignment, and can match those needs to the profile quite well. And this includes both our automatic system of connecting the requests through different tags with our database, but also includes the aid of our network navigators group, which are experts in thematic fields that can also look through the more complex requests. So if you put those things together, well, they create a quite efficient vetting system that EonD operates, and that allows us to really give the good quality of the expert, of the professional that our clients need, which of course. It will depend on the level and length of the assignment, and every case has its specificity. But still, we are able to make those connections quite well. And you've rightly pointed out, it's a question of trust, and I think the trust in EonD is by our clients is something that allows them to cut on the length of the process of identifying the person for the job. So in a way, it's the duty of trust that is brought onto us, and it's part of the service that we deliver to our clients when we connect with the right people. And of course, there is this element of speed here and how quickly it can be done, because this in today's world, a lot of time is part of the advantage that you can get the knowledge or the expertise quickly. And another part of why I think we've been successful in identifying the right people within the right timeframes.
Well, one of the aspects of my time working through EoD for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is that I didn't mention that I never actually set foot in the kingdom. I'm in Northern Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C., and I supported the kingdom from here. I was in Texas for a while. I was in California for a while. But at the very beginning, I mean, we all thought that I would be making several physical trips. I had my passport, I had visas, but in the end, I did the 8-month gig completely remote. And in fact, I mean, this was 2018. I mean, we've all heard about work from home now and hybrid work arrangements as the future of work, but this was 2018. Nobody really did that, especially in an international gig. So, I mean, was that normal then? How has things changed from then to now? And I mean, was that unusual?
At that time, I think it was only starting,
Okay.
but of course, the whole pandemic and work from home, this was solidified in this model, and everybody is used to this model at this point, and it's much easier to engage experts. But think about this from the other side. You were ready to jump on the plane and fly at that time, but in many cases, good professionals, experts who can be available for an assignment, but only remote, because for various reasons they can't relocate, they cannot travel, they might not have the full time to go for a full length of a couple of months assignment, but are willing to take this type of work remotely. And this is the part of this future of work that we're observing, and which makes a lot of clients available, a lot of experts available for clients they wouldn't have otherwise. And this is also the group that EonD is working with. Another thing, it's a possibility perhaps to travel, but just for a very short time and do much more other work remotely. And this type of hybrid arrangement is something that we've seen greatly increase in numbers. And a lot of our assignments are done this way at the moment. So probably, a big majority is either remote or in hybrid arrangements. The in-person assignments are because of our global operation are becoming a smaller percentage or a smaller fraction of it, which shows you also where the future of work is heading, particularly for this high-skilled expert. And it is a new element for high-skilled experts to work this way, because as you pointed out, it's this question of trust. If you want to employ a high-level professional, you want to be able to interact with this person. Usually you want to make sure that that it's a right fit for your purpose as a client, as a company, or especially as a government or a public sector organization that you talked about, which also is starting to acknowledge and allow this type of remote work model or hybrid work model, and I think the pandemic has really accelerated this change quite a lot.
So we've gone from demanding consultants to be on site all the time to with the sort of shifting overnight to everyone working from home, and now we cautiously say the post-pandemic world is coming to us, and the hybrid arrangements are starting to be, are popular, normal. They're no longer unusual. So as a information worker, what's next? Okay, will I now be in the metaverse? So I'll have to have multiple avatars working remotely for different companies through EoD. I mean, what is your version of the metaverse? What's the next step for the future of work?
I would be lying if I said we're not looking at this as well, and there are different other models of representation, if you will, of experts globally. Look,
and I saw the other day. I saw online the other day in October, I guess, they hollow transported a group of 9 people to the International Space Station, right? So now I'm gonna have to think about how I'm gonna be hollow transported when I do my next gig. So
right, exactly. No, so yes, I think we can already envisage what the future here might hold for us. But I think the most immediate changes we'll be seeing in the next couple of years is the really this shift in terms of how people want to work, in terms of where they are located versus where the work actually is. And I think this model is going to really solidify. The other thing, it's something we've also seen globally now. We're really moving into a project-based economy, right? So the operations of institutions are increasingly based on projects which have much more agility in terms of how they're managed and how they're implemented, and that requires fast injections of expertise and knowledge that are centered around those projects. And if you've got a majority of global organizations which are starting increasingly to operate this way, they require a very large increase in the external workforce. Right? So already organizations like Facebook, like Google, they're moving into 50%. That's 50 of employees being brought as external workforce, right? This is like this is your high-skilled freelancer de facto, right? So if you and they're at the forefront of the change. Now, if you think about the whole global economy chasing them, plus organizations outside of the private sector joining these models, you're seeing a major global shift into an external workforce. And with that happening, the high-skilled expertise, the professionals, the advisors and consultants, well, they'll all be looking, for the type of assignments and the type of work that can fit their, first of all, time availability, location availability, and specific knowledge, right? So that type of agility and flexibility and the work assignments and the jobs taken, this will be increasingly in the reality, right? And we will see, in our estimation, in the next couple of years, another 100 million people moving into this sort of work model, and the amount of organizations changing into this model, going into hundreds of thousands globally, and there's been also research to back up this change, done by Harvard Business School, done by a number of other think tanks and organizations, the World Economic Forum. So we're seeing these changes that have been starting to happen before COVID, accelerate post-COVID, and I think now we'll have this moment of solidifying this new reality, and more and more tools, potentially including the metaverse, potentially including holograms, potentially using blockchain for easier transactions, operations, and for instance, getting confirmation of somebody's expertise and verification. We've talked about those vetting mechanisms.
Right,
All of these things will be increasingly happening, and and I think one of the things EonD is striving to is to be at the forefront of the change with that element of trust. So providing the trust through this verification of the top level expert, of the top level professional, that can be available to those different projects, because this digital trust will be a very, very important component here.
Oh no, that's a good term. I'm going to remember digital trust. How you can establish digital trust with respect to the competence of your external workforce. I mean, this is going to be a big requirement, a big discussion in the C-suite. So one thing, sort of, going back to the conflict briefly. One thing that we've seen in this war is the direct linkage to the economics and to business. I mean, the West immediately slapped a lot of restrictions on the Russian government, and that led a lot of multinationals to have to make a decision with respect to their employees that were either in the countries or working for those countries, and their multi-billion-dollar businesses sort of shut down in the country overnight. And this will, of course, affect the staffing. So has the recent conflict changed your views on remote work? And the future of work when it comes to the gig economy for information workers?
Well, I think, of course, now with Russia, it's a quite specific case, and even one could imagine that trying to take care of some of the employees who've been doing a good job and might have not much to do with the war, in a bit of a different circumstance, maybe could be somehow figured out through online assignments from those companies. Although in the current sanction regime, that would be very, very difficult. But I think it shows us something else which could be a bit more difficult or even worrying from the global economy, and that's not just the decoupling with Russia, but the potential decoupling with China if this collision course continues, because this would really affect the whole globalization process. But that's on one hand. Honestly, I think it will not change that much, in the sense that the demand for the professionals, the experts to deliver their work, will be there. It might just be in different formats, and might be sought after through different levels of competition. But if anything, it will increase the need for expertise to be provided in various locations, and one can imagine. I mean, that's not going to happen, of course, with Russia. Most likely, Russia will become just very strongly isolated. I mean, closer to a North Korea model. But if there's a block built by China, you can imagine competition for workers to be engaged in projects from one side or the other. But in terms of high-level expertise, look, whatever is going to happen, the real professionals will be always in demand. Now, whether that's going to be more in the crisis mode or more in the growth mode, I think that's something we can be certain of, right? And I think that also, the whole aspect of digitalization of the economy, that's also not going to stop. I think we've forgotten a little bit, just having all of our attention focused on the global geopolitical events and on the war, that the technological race is still there.
Yes, yes,
and actually
absolutely.
developments are being accelerated. And also, if one thing history teaches us is that competition and arms races and different even wars
Yes.
a lot of times accelerate the development of technology rather than stop it. So I think we'll see that whichever dimension the geopolitical landscape looks like, we will still see a great acceleration in using remote and online expertise, and I think that those trends we've been seeing for the future of work, well, they're only going to accelerate in the years to come.
Well, I tell you, Marcin, when you were back in college getting your degrees in geopolitics, you probably never thought that how important it would be to know that topic in the gig economy for information workers that are leveraging this advanced technology. I mean, you're finding yourself sort of at the leading edge of globalization, digitalization. So I really thank you for your time and perspective today, Marcin. And unfortunately, though, our time has actually come to an end. But how can the audience learn more about experts on demand and your approach to delivering industry and government expertise globally?
Well, thanks very much for this, Kevin, and yes, I mean, if you ask me back then what would be the future here, I mean, it would be very hard to imagine, but there we are, and that tells you only that one of the I think good deeds of any expert is that they can adjust quickly and work in this new reality. And that having said that, I'd really encourage all of our audience to go to our website, to go to our LinkedIn. And really sign up to EonD and see what kind of great opportunities you can find with us if you're open and interested in some very fascinating projects globally. And we like to take pride in taking good care of our experts. So hopefully, I'd say you can find all of that out by signing up and checking out EonD. And of course, you can do that on our website, on our LinkedIn pages, and be then part of our adventure here on growing as well and venturing into this future of work models. I think that there's quite a story ahead.
Well, no, I absolutely can vouch for that. I mean, it's 4 years, Marcin, that we've known each other, and I'm waiting to get measured for my hollow transportation suit. So for the next step in my future of work. So thank you very much. And in closing, I would like to invite everyone to check out the wide variety of industry thought leadership that we bring here, like Marcin on the future of work at Digital Transformers and supplychainnow.com. And you can find Digital Transformers and Supply Chain Now wherever you get your podcasts. So be sure to subscribe. And so on behalf of the entire team here at Supply Chain Now, this is Kevin Jackson wishing all of our listeners a bright and transformational future and future of work. We'll see you next time on Digital Transformers.
Thank Thank you for supporting Digital Transformers and for being a part of our global Supply Chain Now community. Please check out all of our programming at supplychainnow.com. Make sure you subscribe to Digital Transformers anywhere you listen to or view the show, and follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. See you next time on Digital Transformers.